Welcome, low ego action heroes. I'm Debbie Levitt from Delta CX. We are a full service CX and UX consultancy. And this is my Axure 10 Core Skills course. I've been using Axure since February 2011, and I've been teaching it for many, many years. And in fact, I've been one of Axure's recommended trainers since 2014. This course is designed to take you from super Axure newbie or Axure afraid all the way through to confident intermediate. So if you've landed on this one video, there are many, many others. Please check our Axure lessons playlist for a lot more videos about using Axure. The Delta CX YouTube channel has over 500 videos on it as of when I'm recording this in December 2021, and I hope you'll subscribe and join in some of our live streams. I'm live usually 3 or 4 times a week with teaching UX research and design, talking about CX, helping people get into the profession, helping leaders and managers, and of course, don't forget Tuesday, office hours, Ask Me Anything. So subscribe and hang out here. So thanks for being here. Please subscribe and let's jump into that next Axure lesson.
Another fun thing that we can do with dynamic panels is to create accordions. For the purposes of the Core Skills course, I'm going to teach you what I like to call easy cheesy accordions. They are definitely not the most realistic accordions, but they'll definitely function and they'll be fast and easy to build. In my advanced course, I tend to teach another advanced way of doing accordions, but for the most part, you're typically not usability testing exactly how an accordion works, so the easy cheesy way should be good enough. So I'm going to start. I've jumped over here on my dynamic panels page down at the bottom where we had Axure's tabs, and I'm going to start dropping in some elements. Now, we need an icon that's going to show that you can open the accordion or that you can close it. So whether you want to use a caret, a chevron, a plus or minus, of course, totally up to you. I'm going to grab my old friend, the chevron, and I'm going to use up and down chevrons. So when you can open the accordion, I will use a down chevron, and when it's already open and it can be closed, I will use the up-facing chevron. So let's make these a little bit smaller. And again, you could make them a different color. These are still kind of big, but I'm going to leave them. And then later on, I'm going to need the up-facing one, but I can show you something sneaky we can do with that. And we're going to also want some text. So let's say I flow out some text next to this. Let's say we bring it in and call it accordion 1. And that is the correct way to spell accordion, everybody. Just a quick tip. Now, I'm going to be using dynamic panels for the accordion because that is just the easiest way. So I'm going to select the elements that we've created so far. I'm going to context menu click and say create dynamic panel. And immediately I will give this a name, Ac1 panel. I hate writing accordion, so I like to call it Ac. And now we have a closed state. This is clearly the closed state. So I can go into state 1 over here in my outline and rename it and call it closed. And then we can create what the open state will look like. What will it look like when this accordion has been opened and there is some content there? So I could duplicate this state. I could name it opened. And now let's take a look at these states and clean them up. So this is going, now if you want to change anything in your typography, you can. Maybe it's bold and now it's even bolder, whatever you want. Now, as for the icon, you're going to want to change to your other icon. So that might be a minus instead of a plus. It could be an upward facing chevron instead of a downward facing chevron. I can do a quick cheat over here by going into style and saying rotate this 180 degrees. And that's only because this particular icon happens to work that way. Obviously for plus and minus you can't do that, but in this case I can. Otherwise you're welcome to erase that and drag out the other icon, give it its size. And now I'm going to just drop some placeholder content under here, and imagine that when accordion 1 opens, people will also see this text. All right, so let's go back and let's take a look at what we've got. So by default, we just have this, and all that happens so far is when nothing. So we have to build something. When you click on it, it opens, and then if you click it again, it closes. Now, some people will say, well, why don't you just build that on the dynamic panel itself? If somebody clicks on the dynamic panel, just keep changing the panel state from the closed to the open and back to the closed and back to the open, kind of like we did a little bit earlier with our carousel. The downside there is that if you make the entire panel clickable, that means that if our opened state has links, there might be a battle in Axure between, are you clicking on the link or are you clicking on the panel? Which thing do I do? I used to see that in old versions of Axure, and I don't know if they cleaned it up. So just to make double dog sure, I like to take a different approach with my easy cheesy accordions to make sure that I'm really matching the user's intention of what they're tapping or clicking on and what the thing actually does. So what I do, as you might guess, is I bring out my old friend, the hotspot. And that way I can drop a hotspot over the icon and over the words. This is especially helpful when you have the icon and the words far apart. Maybe you have the words to the left, and then way on the far right you created an icon. Now you can have the whole way across the way, even the blank space in between, be clickable because you have the hotspot across the whole thing. And I'm just going to copy and paste that hotspot quickly and put another similar one. Oops, sorry, I'm going to cut that one and paste it over into this one. Why is this blurry and weird? Axure, you can be so weird. I'm going to move this one over here. And again, they don't do anything yet. They just are hotspots. We haven't built any interactivity. But the idea there is that people will only be able to click on this. And again, you can change that if you want. If you want them to click the whole way across, you certainly can. And that's the beauty of the hotspot. You can make the tappable area that you believe is the best interaction experience. This is so very strange looking. Okay, so let's build our interactions, and I'm going to start on the closed state. Hey, Axure, when people tap or click on the closed state, they clearly mean to open this accordion. And to open this accordion, we have to switch from the closed state to the open state. That's why these are easy cheesy. They're really simple. Click or tap, set panel state, Ac1, to opened. And you can try an animation, but it's probably not going to look right because these are easy cheesy. Remember, if you animate from one state to the other, you're not just animating that this text suddenly shows, you're also animating the icon and the headline. And a lot of people find that when they build my easy cheesy accordions, the animations don't look right. Maybe the fade looks right, but it really doesn't. It really takes the more advanced accordions that I teach in the advanced course for this to make more sense. So let's baby step test this. All right, scrolling down, all that should happen so far is I click on this and it looks like the accordion opened. There we go. That's all it's going to do so far. It's not going to close. Now you might think, oh, we have to go back to this hotspot and write another case and a condition. We actually don't. Once we've moved from this state to this state, nobody can click on this. Everyone is looking at the opened state in the picture frame. So that means we need to write our other case, which is really just a fresh interaction, on this hotspot. So I can say, hey, Axure, if this accordion is open, now I don't need to write the condition, it's open. If this accordion is open and people are clicking on the top of this, then they must mean to close it. Okay, so this one says set panel state to closed. This one says set panel state to opened. That looks pretty good. Looks like we should have everything going in all directions. And again, even though I'm using the word if, we didn't need a condition because these are happening on completely separate widgets. It's only when things are happening on the same widget that we need to consider that condition. Now, this seems to be working pretty well. This is opening and closing, again, for the easy, cheesy version. So let's take it up a notch. I'm going to click away Now I'm going to click on this and do a copy and paste. Let's imagine that our accordion has a few of them in a row and they're 25 pixels apart. I'm going to name this the Act 2 panel. Notice that when we copied and pasted, we had the same name for everything. So we're going to need to go in and fix all of these things. This is now, I can single click, return, edit my text. So remember that slow click trick that I taught you? If not, go check out the slow click layers lesson. So these will now say accordion 2, and we can baby step test this. Accordion 2 opens, accordion 2 closes. Now right now we have no relationship between these two. If accordion 1 opens, it just opens right there with accordion 2, above it or below it, depending upon how you layered things. So we need to teach Axure, when accordion 1 opens, I need you to move accordion 2 out of the way. Now when you think about moving things out of the way, think about push-pull widgets. Let's try to make that work. So let's go into the isolating the panel, since we'll need to write it on both hotspots. For opening the accordion, we'll need to push it down, and when the accordion closes, we'll need to pull it back up. So we need to do it in both, but we'll baby step test it. So here I am on the hotspot for accordion 1. I'm in set panel state, and I am adding my more options and special behavior for push-pull widgets below. Now sometimes when I teach this, I show everything animating with a linear slide, but there's something about that that's going to get ugly later. So I would say maybe for easy cheesy, we don't have to animate these and keep it super simple. Let's take a look at that. So now, if I open up accordion 1, accordion 2 moves out of the way. Now, what if I want more space between accordion 1 and accordion 2? The easiest way to do that is to either make this longer by however many pixels you'd like to have in space, or throw a hotspot underneath here and make it whatever height you want so that you are buying yourself a little bit of invisible space. So I'll make this height 150. And now let's baby step test it again and see how we feel about the spacing. Oop, that one. And that one. And again, if you want, at the bottom of this panel, you could put a line. You could have alternating colors on the back of these. You can do whatever you like with this. You should experiment with different visual designs for what you like. But we now have to write what happens if we close this. We need Axure to pull widgets back up. So that's over here on the hotspot where people are clicking the icon or the words with the intention of closing the accordion. So we'll come to the interaction, and when Act 1 panel is changing to closed, we'll go into more options, special behavior, push-pull, and I'm going to say no animation. Now let's do a little bit of testing there. Accordion 1 opened, 2 moved out of the way. Accordion 1 closed, 2 moved back up. So again, they're not completely visually realistic in that they're not sliding, we don't have the top staying there, and the content kind of animates in. Because we're treating everything as one big piece in a dynamic panel, this might be a little bit on the not smooth side, but again, for easy cheesy accordions, this will work, and it'll certainly work for the purposes of most design and prototyping. Now that we've done that, we should probably also do that on accordion 2 as well. Let's see, how can I get there easily? I can't. So let's jump into view all. Oop, I'm still in accordion 1. Axure. Let's maybe do it from the outline. Maybe I can get there from there. Let's see. Okay, accordion 2, and let's quickly add that to our hotspots. That quick more options, special behavior, push-pull, no animation, and over on this hotspot as well, panel 2, more options, push-pull. And we should probably make this one a little taller, since if we like extra space between our accordions, though again we can do that with lines, we could do it with color. So now let's see, this one can open, this one can open, Very nice. This one can close, this one can close. And of course, we can test this even further by copy paste and doing a third accordion. So just for good measure, especially since very often when we have accordions, we do have a bunch of them. They're FAQs or they're different aspects of an e-commerce product. So since I copied and pasted it, I'm going to take a moment to say this is the Act 3 panel, and I'll go into it in isolation mode. And click, click, enter key, accordion 3, click, click, enter key, accordion 3, save, 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 save. And now let's take a look at these out in our baby step testing world. So, accordion 2 open, 3 moved out of the way, good sign. Accordion 1 opened, everybody moved out of the way. Okay, our page is ending, so everything's at the bottom. Accordion 2 closed, accordion 1 closed. Looks great. Now notice that this was accordions where multiple ones can be open at a time. If you are building something and that is your design or interaction intention where people can open more than one accordion at a time, in the world of easy cheesy accordions, you are done. But if you want to make it so that Axure will only open one at a time, I know you're thinking there can be only one. Where's my group? But it's not like that. It's a little bit more like our navigation menu lesson. So let's go back and build on accordion 1 just for practice. And luckily for this technique, we only have to build on the state that opens the accordion because we're telling Axure, when we open this accordion, close all the other ones. And since they're already closed, if we're closing this accordion, we don't have to do anything special. So I would go into the hotspot for the closed state because people intend on opening it, and I need to add targets. I need to say, hey, Axure, if you are opening Act 1, close Act 2, close Act 3. And we can baby step test this. We can start with 2 open, and then we can open 1 and 2 should close. Oh, sorry. We'll open 1. Okay, so something happened there with our push-pull. So let's take a look at what I built. Aha! I didn't put a push-pull on these, and as you can see, things didn't move quite back to where they should have been. So let's do a quick push-pull on each of these targets and see if that works a little bit better, but that might help you troubleshoot as well. If you notice the same thing was happening for you, perhaps you also forgot the push-pull widgets for each of these. Now let's refresh and take another look. So I'm going to open 2 first, and when I open 1, 2 should close and move back up. Okay, it's not moving back up, but yes, in this case, this is correct. Now, if we open 2, nothing happens because we haven't built on there yet. We only built on accordion 1. We can try to copy-paste this to save a little bit of time, but let me show you how that's going to end up working. So let's say that I go from the original interaction on the hotspot, and let's say I copy the entire thing. Now, remember, this says open accordion 1, close 2, and close 3. If I now go into accordion 2, and I'm on the hotspot here, I could delete this entire case and paste the one we just did, but I still have to go into this and fix some stuff. We don't want Act 1 to open, we want Act 1 to close. And because this is operating on accordion 2, we want 2 to be open, and then 3 would be closed. So did that save us some time? Maybe a little bit. Maybe. Let's go back out and grab accordion 3 and do the same thing. I'm going to remove the case that we wrote, paste the original, but now go in and double check things and make changes. We don't want accordion 1 to open if we're dealing with accordion 3, but we do want accordion 3 to open. And again, if you have 8 accordions here, you've got a lot of stuff to do, but it'll just be a little bit of manual work. So now only 1 should open at a time. Open 1, open this one, open this one. Remember, test them all in all different orders. Make sure that works. So again, these are easy cheesy accordions. They're not high on animation or finesse, but for the purposes of what you're doing, they'll probably work just fine. All right. I think we've got it. And again, in the advanced course, I do teach a more advanced way to do accordions that has a little bit more of that visual realism. But for most of what you're going to build, and especially since we are rarely usability testing the visual appearance or behavior of an accordion, you're probably just fine with the easy cheesy version. So I'll see you in the next video.